Breaking today. Rachel from accounts lies again. This lawbreaker, this liar who couldn't even tell the truth about her damn CV, doesn't know how to properly rent out her house. But perhaps what's most significant is she doesn't even know how to be honest and transparent with the Prime Minister when her job is on the line. But the problem is, Slippery Starmer isn't going to get rid of the tax riser-in-chief, meaning that even though she has been humiliated again for admitting she did know she needed a license after the Daily Mail revealed the Chancellor broke the rental law, Starmer can't put this woman exactly where she should be, the political graveyard. As Adam Brooks posted, how can she continue? She should have been sacked. Worst way, she should resign. But this is Labour, a party that makes the Tories look like saints. This government is so corrupt. So for the second day in a row, late last night, completely overshadowed by the news of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor being thrust into royal exile, there was another mortifying exchange of letters between Reeves and Starmer, where Starmer made it very clear he was unhappy with his Chancellor. He wrote, "Dear Rachel, thank you for your further letter updating me regarding the correspondence between your husband and the estate agents. The correspondence you shared shows that the oversight regarding the licence occurred after your husband had been told by the estate agents that they would be happy to apply for a licence on his behalf. In the event, however, this application did not occur. It is clearly regrettable that the information in this correspondence was not shared with me when you wrote to me last night, but I fully accept that you were not aware at that stage of these emails. I understand that the relevant emails were only unearthed by your husband this morning and that you have updated me as soon as possible. I accept that you were acting in good faith when you wrote to me last night. However, it would clearly have been better if you and your husband had conducted a full trawl through all email correspondence with the estate agency before writing to me yesterday. Based on the information you have provided to me, I still regard this as a case of an inadvertent failure to secure the appropriate licence, which you have apologised for and are now rectifying. Having consulted the independent advisor on ministerial standards and received his clear and swift guidance with which I concur, I see no need for any further action." But this is an extraordinary state of affairs, given that the Labour Party, during all of their time in opposition, collaborated with the mainstream media to drive out cabinet ministers and even a prime minister for far less. So while there's lots of people taking the higher road at this point, that's not where I'm at in regards to this, because Reeves was one of those witch hunter-in-chiefs. Even James O'Brien is now saying, oh no, there's nothing to see here. Chris Rose posted, James O'Brien claims that he doesn't understand the outrage at Rachel Reeves failing to obtain a rental licence. It's the hypocrisy after years of preaching about being whiter than white. This same guy banged on about Boris and cake for months. Watch. Dan Wootton Outspoken is available as a podcast too. So to listen or watch us on the go, wherever you are, then please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And as a personal favour to me, please rate and review, as it really helps our independent show.
It could be that you're listening to the same words that I'm listening to,
Yes.
and you are hearing evidence of an appalling and egregious breach. You may even have persuaded yourself that £900 is a significantly large sum of money for the Chancellor of the Exchequer to have jeopardised her career in order to avoid paying. If you believe that, you should probably give your head a wobble. I don't know that anybody can meaningfully argue that this is anything other than a genuine mistake. A lot of people on the right of British media and British politics are very exercised by today, while they were supremely unconcerned when their hero Boris Johnson saw two ethics advisors resign in disgust at his contempt for ethics. That's what footballification looks like. This is outrageous. This is outrageous. She's the Chancellor of the Exchequer. How can this happen? Oh, you remember when Boris Johnson's ethics advisors resigned twice because he was such a... yeah, that was great. That was funny, wasn't it? He's such a lad. He's such a top bloke. I love him. Yeah, we're going for lunch tomorrow. That was really funny when Boris Johnson's ethics advisors resigned. Two of them, not just one, two of them, because he was, doing up his flat and lying about it, pretending he'd lost a phone. Can't even remember what the other was. Scandal after scandal after scandal. But none of it mattered because I love Boris.
Connor Tomlinson, host of Tomlinson Talks, your reaction.
Oh, I'm sick to death of hearing from Squealer from Animal Farm there, who will happily apologise for any egregious action or hypocrisy or atrocity caused or ignored by the state until he's quite literally red in the face. So that might be all the booze. Dan, yeah, James O'Brien doesn't understand the right at all, and of course he's just a sort of pantomime villain, so he's not meant to. He's just a paid propagandist. But those of us on the actual right, those of us with consistency and standards who care about the health of our country, yeah, we wanted Boris Johnson gone. Not because we were outraged about his breach of COVID laws because the COVID laws were legitimate, but because he put us under house arrest for 2 years, suggested we take mandatory vaccines in December 2021, and all the time he and his staff were having a piss up at our expense. So I'm happy Boris Johnson went. I'm not happy about the media circus that was confected around it, because that itself was hypocritical, because when Keir Starmer had a beer and a curry under the same restrictions as photographed by the lovely Fleur Meston, or now Power, they didn't call blue bloody murder and have him ousted. Instead, he's now Prime Minister, unfortunately. So as regards to Rachel Reeves, yeah, she violated the restrictions that she championed being brought in via Leeds Council in 2020, and whether or not this was an oversight by her estate agent according to the emails given to Downing Street by her husband, or whether or not this was her skirting the law, as some people have suggested despite the emails being provided, it doesn't matter. Because if it was you or me, Dan, we would be treated as if we had skirted the law, even if we had made an honest mistake. And it's because these punitive laws are designed to extract every penny possible from hard-working Brits like you and me to then redistribute to Labour's various welfare-dependent client blocks, because they would like to keep safe seats forever, and also build an egalitarian utopia where literally any Somalian can be given social housing and he can become as British as you and me. Point being, we wouldn't be given the same grace if we fell afoul of the laws that Rachel Reeves herself has supported and wanted to introduce. I think this is actually a disastrous move politically for Starmer as well, because we're days away from a budget where he can't commit to not raising taxes as was promised in their manifesto, and we know manifestos aren't worth the paper they're written on these days. He could have used this as an instance to throw Rachel Reeves under the bus, replace her with a better chancellor, or at least someone more able to sell their ideas in less of a monotone and less looking like Lord Farquaad, and delay the date at which the budget had to be delivered, giving them more time to cook the books. Instead, because Starmer is a robot with no internal monologue, he didn't decide to take the opportunity. More for him.
But first, the number one worst fruit for your waistline. Are you turning healthy fruits into highly unhealthy fruits without even realizing it? Fruit can be one of the healthiest things you can put into your body, but the majority of Americans are guilty of making this single mistake that can counteract all of the health benefits of fruit. Some fruits help with occasional constipation, reduce bloating, and even help burn calories. Others can wreak havoc on your digestive system and energy levels. I came across this viral presentation from world-renowned surgeon Dr. Stephen Gundry that showcases the 3 fruits to stop eating today. And it was shocking. I had no idea. And after finding it out, I've stopped eating these too. I'm going to put a link for you all to watch it because I want you to gain this information. I think it's truly important. You can watch it right now at thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. That's thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. I also linked it in the description box below the video too, so make sure to click on it or just go to thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. Oh, and by the way, eliminating these fruits could forever change the way we help increase energy levels, decrease brain fog, support digestion, and even lose weight. So make sure to click below or go to thehealthyfat.com/outspoken to find out now. Dr. Gundry has lost 70 pounds himself using his research and has kept the weight off for over 20 years and counting. His digestive issues are gone, his health is fantastic, and he feels younger and healthier today than he did in his 40s. His video has been watched by over 20 million people to date, and you can watch and learn more about it at thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. It's linked at the bottom of this video, but he'll teach you exactly how he has kept his weight off for free at thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. Just click on the link in the description below the video. But now, back to the show. Yeah, these two are in this together now. That is the reality. That they are in this together. The economy is going to come crashing down. The budget is going to be absolutely disastrous. But I think you make a really good point because actually, Connor, they have now lost lost one of their most senior women, the other one under threat. I'm talking about Angela Rayner as well, because of the shocking systems and red tape they expect all of us to follow, right? Like, if there is ever an illustration of how difficult life is in the United Kingdom, it's because of these types of regulations. But Labour have absolutely no intention of cutting any of the red tape, of getting rid of any of this, of making life any easier for us. And so I do think that's another fascinating point here. I'm sorry. If Angela Rayner and Rachel Reeves, with all of the support they have, all of the advisors they have, all of the money that they have, cannot follow the systems that are required to either buy a house or rent out a house, what hope do any of us have? I think it really is an illustration of how difficult it is to live in the UK just day to day now. But I have zero sympathy. She is a liar. She was a liar. Look at the litany of scandals, Connor, ever since she has entered the job. Not to mention the fact she's useless at the job. I repeat, if this were a Tory, she would be gone, because the mainstream media would not have let us forget these stories day after day after day. Instead, it's not just James O'Brien who's been an apologist, Connor. So-called, and they're obviously not, but so-called unbiased reporters like Robert Peston and Beth Rigby, they've all been running to her defence too.
Yeah, well, the purpose of the system is what it does, Dan, and what the British political system does is build a increasing nexus, a kind of Japanese knotweed of selectively applied laws and restrictions, be it financial, be it tax, be it regulatory, be it hate speech legislations, or even just prosecution of actual violent crimes, where violent criminals are let out early or given less sentencing time, like a chap who tried to strangle a railway worker the other week because she asked to see his ticket. His name is Mohammed, of course, and actually tried to assault a railway worker, only got 16 months in prison. Meanwhile, Lucy Connolly gets 31 months for an ill-advised but deleted tweet. So, turns out what the system does is protect the reputations of inadequate midwit politicians because they have the correct ideology. For example, Rachel Reeves putting up a photo of Red Ellen, the co-founder of the Communist Party, in number 11 Downing Street. So despite lying on her CV, despite crashing the economy, despite sending gilt rates higher than they were under Truss's premiership, and then blaming Liz Truss for crashing the economy when it's the Bank of England's fault, but when the economy's in the doldrums because of their tax policies and tax rises, it's never their fault, and at the same time ensnare us in a widely cast and nebulous net of censorship laws and financial restrictions. So the point is, Dan, it's much like the Soviet Union, where the inner party could preach communism all it likes, but practice what Robert Conquest called Car and Harem syndrome, living it up at our expense, and the moment you criticise the state, you find yourself in a gulag.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go wherever you are.